Well, gut-wrenching loss, tough loss, and we've been on a heck of a stretch. I think challenging ourselves, playing teams of this caliber, is good for us. We're finding our weak spots as much as we can, and it stinks obviously to lose at home, but it wasn't for a lack of great toughness and fight against a good team. We shot ourselves in the foot countless times, and the turnovers, at the end of the day, were too much for us to overcome. And I think the message to our group is if we can improve on taking care of the ball in situations where we have numbers or in transition, we're going to be a better team. The bottom line is, when you turn it over 21 times, and that's what McNeese does. They're very difficult to prepare for. It was a very tough turnaround, but I thought for majority of the game, when playing against them, we did some good things. But when we have our opportunities right now, and it happened on the road the other day, when you're in a 53-53 game or you're in a one-possession game and you have 4 or 5 trips that you turn it over and don't get a shot, you're not going to be able to beat good teams. And that's just, it is what it is. So for our group, it stinks because I think that we're really priding ourselves on the right way to do things. Our guys have really been on a grind, for the last 10 to 14 days. I mean, every game that we've played has been against a really good team where there's some emotional, whether it's Brown at home, at Providence, 48 hours later, you got McNeese. Like, we're challenging ourselves. And I think that we're being exposed right now in certain areas that if we can get it corrected, we're going to be a better team. And turning the ball over, really from an offensive standpoint, is our Achilles heel right now. I think we can, do a better job here in the next 2 weeks before we hit conference of really locking in on that. And that'll be something that'll be good for us because you're going to be in games like this, 1 possession, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, finding a way somehow, some way to take care of it better is going to help us.
Questions?
Coach, it looked like the last 11 minutes you show on the bench, you played basically, I think, 6 guys, and 4 of them were guards, if you consider Tripp a guard. That seemed to work pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, against McNeese, you need the best ball handlers you got. It's not about size against them. It's about handling the ball. It's about, running any form of play after the play that you can because, with the way that they play, there's just a constant press and then there's a constant ability in the half court with their switching that you're not going to be able to run a whole lot. So we weren't concerned with who was in the game other than the fact that we could put the best ball handling group at times out there, and we were a little small, but that helped us probably at some times during the game. But yeah, the lineup that we chose to go was more of a ball handling lineup, trying to get Miles off the ball a little bit more and get RJ in there.
How much of the turnovers are because of the way McNeese plays, or how much of it is Rhode Island's offense right now?
There's probably a combination. I mean, they wear on you. That's what they do. I think they're top 10 in the country in forcing turnovers and stealing the ball, blocking shots. I mean, you knew coming in the game that's what we had to do. At times we did a good job, and at times it wore us down a little bit. But I'm talking about the turnovers when you have 2-on-1s, 4-on-3s, 3-on-2s that you continue to kind of take 2 guys in on the rim and there's a guy in the left corner running the wing. You got to be able to see those more. Or just over dribbling when we have to move the ball a little bit more before we make the play. And I think the things that we'll be, concentrating the most on is when you have advantage basketball, numbers, you can't turn it over. We're turning it over way too many times by multiple players when we have the ability to strike or we have numbers or you have a chance to get some opportunities with stop, but you're not getting a shot. Those are killing us. And I think those are some things that we can get better at. And there's some, it's McNeese and the style, but I think a lot of it is, for us, where are the ones that we can control better with numbers? Those are the ones we have to do a better job of.
Coach, you've been talking about emphasizing rebounding and everyone has to box out, and particularly on the defensive side, crashing the boards. Is the trade-off on that you're losing some of your tempos, some of your fast breaks? There was only 6 fast break points tonight. Corey gets out there, he's so quick, there doesn't seem to be anyone else with him. It seems like the other guys are, is there a trade-off there? They're focusing on rebounding and it slowed down your tempo, your fast break ability a little bit?
When you can't defensive rebound, you can't run. And the speed of our team and the transition is the best thing we do, but the worst thing that we do from a defensive side of the ball is defensive rebound. So when you struggle to defensive rebound, when you can't get clean rebounds, when you give up offensive rebounds, it really eliminates your transition game. And I think them getting 12 offensive rebounds probably is a big factor why you don't see a free-flowing pace. It's the biggest concern, it's the biggest weakness. It's not a very big secret right now, analytically, that we have to be a better defensive rebounding team. And if we can get 4 or 5 more clean ones, I think you'll see more of a free-flowing, break. But that's why it doesn't feel that the tempo is up, because, McNeese shoots 40%, 28% from 3. That's a lot of missed shots, and they get 12 back to our 4. And the rebound margin was 31 up, but we didn't create any tempo with our defensive stops. And when we did, I think we shot ourselves in the foot probably half a dozen times, not being able to convert.
Coach, McNeese averages 90 points a game. You guys were able to hold him to 66. What impressed you the most with defense today?
I thought from a defensive standpoint, we were able, for the most part, guard the ball. We were pretty clean in the half court. It's a driving game. You have to be able to keep the ball in front. They run a lot of plays. They take some clock down. They don't shoot quick. But we were going to have to be detailed in terms of our approach and matchups guarding the ball. And I thought when we were set, we were pretty adequate. Turning it over 21 times, maybe some of them were dead balls, but I'd be surprised if we watched the film. And a lot of the defensive struggles probably came with numbers or turnovers. And but from a half-court perspective, I thought our guys really battled. They really competed. I didn't think at the end of the day that we were getting torched off the dribble. It's a 66-64 game. Going into the last media, it may have been 61 up or whatever it was, 62. It's a one-possession game. So, from a defensive standpoint, there's going to be there's some really good effort. They got good players. I thought we did a decent job there. But, you're just gonna have a hard time sleeping tonight with 21 turnovers. And you're gonna look at probably a half a dozen of them, and you're gonna say, as a coaching staff, we've got to do a better job of cleaning these up and working at it and taking more pride in taking care of the ball, especially, in transition with numbers. You got to be great defense to offense against McNeese. You can't play in the half court all game long against McNeese with the way that they play. It's just very difficult to run plays. It's very difficult to get an advantage on them. They're switching 1 through 5 on and off the ball. You're dealing with the press. The clock is short. So when you do have defense to offense, you got to be great with numbers, and you got to be great in terms of your ability level to strike. And we've got to be a good strike team, and right now we're not. And I think that as a staff and whatever we're doing over the next 2 weeks, that's going to be the number one thing offensively that we do a better job of here moving forward, is really trying to get our guys to think unselfishly earlier in possessions and transition, making the right play.
Archie, you mentioned conference play coming up. How do you feel about this team right now as opposed to last year's team at this time?
We're much different. We're a much different team. First and foremost, we've played 11 games. Only 5 of them have been in here. We've went at Yale. We went down to Orlando and played the CAA preseason. We've played the American East preseason. We've played Temple from the American. We've played Tulsa from the American. Tulsa right now is one of the best teams that we've played all season. They're having a great year. The Brown-Providence week is a very difficult week. It's an emotional week. Both games are absolute, mentally fatiguing. And then we come back and we play these guys who are going to win 30 games. We're tested way differently. We're exposed way differently. We have to be able to keep improving. And part of it is, I think, with who our guys have been through the course of the year, we'll have a great response over the next 2 weeks as we get our feet back on the ground. We've had very few few time to really just not prepare for games, but get in there and work a little bit individually in practice. And, you know, as you go through the ups and downs of the non-conference, you got to get your guys, you know, recharged and playing their best. We have some guys right now that aren't playing as well as they had maybe a few games ago, and I think some freshness, some practice, a little bit of you know, rest is going to be helpful. But these next 2 weeks are vital. These next 2 weeks going into January are vital. We've got to respond in a couple areas, and we have 2 more home games, and we've got to get back on the winning track. But we've played a difficult schedule, and I think we're way more prepared to go into tough games, tough environments, good teams. What we're seeing right now in the non-conference is pretty much what we're going to see in conference.
Coach, when I look at the shots, field goals, you had 39, they had 60. That's where the turnovers and their steals fall out.
But we only had 4 offensive rebounds. We had 21 times where we turned it over. There is a balance when you play McNeese because you're going to get to the foul line. And we did do that excellent tonight. We got 27 free throws, we made 23. So when you play against them, it's a style game. The one thing that stands out in this game was our inability to get second shots. And typically McNeese has a harder time defensive rebounding, but tonight, whether it's based on playing smaller people or whether it's based on not being able to get the ball in and around the rim, which is how their defense is built, you're relegated to taking some jump shots, and we could not rebound jump shots very well. So 60 shots on goal to 39 has a lot to do, one, with free throws that we did generate, but also 21 times that we didn't shoot. And a lack of offensive rebounding hurt that disparity. But, you know, that being said, it's anybody's game. You just got to take care of the ball.
Coach, this early stretch of the season, Jameer's looked very solid. At this point, still, he's coming off the bench. Is that something you want to keep up? I mean, he's a spark plug, but have you considered?
He's fine either way. You know, part of our depth right now is preparing for Mo being out. And Jameer, you know, at the end of the day right now, if he's able to play 30 minutes, we'll play him 30. We went with the starting lineup to be the starting lineup as it is. And I don't just change lineups unless, quite frankly, we need to make a change. And right now I haven't felt that because I think Jameer's he's in a good way. It's not going to affect his minutes. As long as he's playing well, he's good. We've got to get Alex going. We've got to get Tyler a little freshened up, playing a little bit better. And, you know, I think that, you know, with what we'll try to accomplish in the next 2 weeks individually with guys, going to work on their game and whatnot, it's the best way to get out of a rut sometimes. But Jameer's playing really well. He's saving us a lot of times out there in games because he can do a lot. And, you know, I'm proud of kind of like where he's at, but it's not a concern right now in terms of the lineup.
Coach, Keon had double-double today, 11 points, 10 rebounds, but also making 7 free throws. He's a 77% free throw shooter on the season. What did you see from him both at the free throw line and on both sides of the glass today?
He did a really good job for us tonight. You know, it was a different game for him just based on, you know, how they switch and what they do. So I thought he created some good lanes for us today. He works extremely hard. You know, I thought he played extremely hard tonight. The ability to get 9 defensive rebounds from him is a huge deal because he's not defensive rebounding well enough at his position right now. So tonight getting 9 was a big deal for us to be able to get him. But Key's doing well. He's doing fine. He's getting better, and he's a great kid. And I think that's the one thing I would say about our guys. You know, win, lose, or draw, we've had the ability to really come back and try to take it all in and improve. And we haven't had a lot of time here recently to kind of sit down and kind of evaluate. We've been game to game to game, whether you're going, you know, you go to Yale, you get 3 in a row, you come right back, you go to Prov on Saturday, you come back tonight with McNeese. There's a lot of prep, so we're not dialed in as much, I don't think, in terms of really honing in on what we're doing in practice. So we're finally hitting a little bit of a lull here with 2 games in 2 weeks. So my biggest thing is tomorrow morning when we wake up, let's make sure we're ready to get our rest. Let's get back at it and practice. I like our group. I think we play really hard. I think they play for one another. As a coaching staff, proud of effort on a daily basis. It's carrying over into games, but we've got to take care of the ball. And there's got to be a lot more pride in taking care of the ball right now.
Coach,
Oh, sorry. Sure.
Got some?
Coach, you have 3 more home games, including the last one of this 4-game home stretch, being a home conference game against Loyola Chicago. You mentioned the importance of being at home this season. What does this stretch mean to you as you start up conference play?
Yeah, like I said, I think we were coming into this game, we played 10 games, and I think only 4 of them had been at home. So we've played a lot of games, either neutral, or we've played good teams neutral and away. You have to be good at home, and I think tonight was the first opportunity to really play a team that, you know, is coming in here in terms of like they're going to have a heck of a season, and they're having a heck of a season. They got really good players. So to tee it up at home against a really good team in a tight game at home, huge opportunity for us, experience for us. Moving forward though, no doubt about it. We got to get in a rhythm here. We got to shoot the ball better here. We got to play with more confidence here. And I think, you know, 2 games in 2 weeks before we enter conference play is a big deal. But getting into league play, you're going to be in a lot of games that feel like this, and you got to be better at doing what we do for longer stretches. And that'll be a big key in terms of our season, is being able to win some of these close ones. Because, hey, look, every game that we play, I feel like it's 50-50. We don't go into any game saying, hey, we're significantly more talented than this group, or this, that, and whatever. We've been up against teams that are equal to, better than us, or the same in terms of talent and size. And I think when we play well, it starts on defense to offense. It starts with guys being able to move the ball without turning it over. When we struggle, we don't defensive rebound, and we don't take care of it. And I think as we get back into these next 2 weeks, we've got to start really honing in on better ball security, and we got to keep being committed to rebounding, and we got to get some guys playing at a higher level, so when we hit conference, we're feeling good about ourselves, because that's going to be the name of the game in league play. You know, for us, is taking care of it, and obviously being able to secure defensive rebounds and all that stuff. But you know, the good thing is we could be winning games by 25, and everyone could say, hey, you're 9-2 or whatever it is. We're not trying to do that. You know, and I don't think that, you know, looking at our schedule when it's all said and done at the end of the year, that we won't have played 4 or 5 conference champions or 3 or 4 teams that are in the mix in March. We want to be in that mix. To do that, you got to play people, and we're playing people right now. And I think you're going to win some of those games. You're going to lose some of those games against good teams. How do we keep getting better is the biggest thing.
All right, folks.